Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with a sixth video to go with the Courageously Crafting Scrapbooking Through the Hard Stuff. And my original plan was I was going to create 5 layouts because of the things that had happened to me in a matter of like 6 to 8 weeks that were hard because we've had a pretty rough couple of months. Honestly, the last 4 years have been pretty rough. And for a lot of people, I know, not just with the pandemic, but in general. So I did the 5 episodes or series or videos, whatever you want to call them, about a change in my work where my boss, who I was really close to, left, which was hard. My husband and I decided to amicably get divorced. My husband's grandmother died a week later. Then we put our house on the market and sold our home that we'd been in for a long time. And then the last thing I documented last Saturday was I am changing jobs. Not officially changing jobs, just changing my school. And so even though there's lots of positive with that, there's, some sad times with leaving a school that I've been at since pretty much at the beginning for me. So in the midst of creating, because all of those things, in all honesty, all of those things happened from April the 26th to mid-June. So not even like a full 2 months, honestly. And then I started my new job August the 1st, but I knew I was leaving back in the end of May, early June. So all those things happened all in that amount of time. So I was really, really, really drawn to create layouts, documenting even the hard things, because there's so many people who are grieving for, loss of a friendship or a death, a divorce, change, all the different things that go on in our lives that we don't necessarily want to document, or we don't want to remember. And some things, I get that. Like, I totally understand, not documenting certain things. And I've discussed this in some of my previous videos that I would love for you to check out if you haven't already. So I totally get that. I know there are things out there that are just not something you want to document. You document your life, and yes, the bad stuff is part of that, but there are definitely things that, you don't document, and that's 100% a personal choice. And, some people may not think that documenting my divorce was something that needed to be done, and for them that wouldn't be something they would do. But for me, especially since it's amicable, we have 2 kids and 2 dogs that, we're working around, and luckily it's been amicable for us, and we're really good friends, and that's, been super helpful. So for me, keeping my still husband, but soon to be ex, in these family books, whether it's documenting this, I did not document like any kind of big dramatic thing with our divorce. I gave him my wedding ring back because it was a family heirloom, so I was never ever going to keep that is not my thing. It was family heirlooms. That's very important to his family, and that was important to me. So, but I took a picture the day that I took it off to give to him, because I've had it for over 17 years with the engagement ring. So to me, that was a way of documenting that without it being a big dramatic spread of all the details. And there really isn't any journaling. It's just simple, something that'll go in my 2022 album most likely, and be an easy, flipping through a book. It's part of my life. That's fine. Same thing with some of the other stuff. Selling the house, there's going to be more pictures because we did lots of cleaning and moving, and they have pictures from the house where it was sold and the before and afters from the absolute disaster that it was. You know, things like that. And moving into the apartment, we've got lots of pictures from that. So those will have more things because there are positives to all of that. There will probably be another layout for my husband's grandmother, because the one I did of that was the pallbearer sitting in, you know, the pew right before the service. I, you know, took a picture because you could just see the emotion and the way that everybody was dealing with it. So, since in the middle of documenting these things through the month of July, I did all 5 Saturdays in July. So in the middle of all of that, unfortunately, we've had some more loss in our family. And the beginning of last week, my cousin called. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, I've already shared quite a bit about the loss in my family. 4 years ago, my aunt was killed by a drunk driver, and it was my dad's only sister. He was devastated. He was brokenhearted. My grandmother was 93 and lived with my aunt, and she was devastated. So, and of course, you know, her kids and her husband and things like that as well. So 3 weeks after my aunt died, my father died of a heart attack. In my humble opinion, I would be willing to say that it was honestly a broken heart, because he was just shattered. And so our family had to pick up a lot of pieces, and it was really hard. And the trial for the whole thing was a 4-year process. I mean, it's been a nightmare. In the midst of those 4 years waiting for that trial, my uncle died. My grandmother died. I mean, you know, it's just been one thing after another. So my poor cousin has had to bury her mom from a drunk driver, and then bury her grandmother, our grandmother, and then her dad. So, you know, it's been such a hard road for her. I mean, our family all of us have suffered and dealt with a lot. But bless her heart, she has had to be, I mean, burying my father was hard enough. I cannot fathom my mom, because she and I are just absolutely the best of friends. And so having to do all of that, plus your grandmother, and deal with a lot of other things that she's been having to deal with, and the court case and all of that, I just feel so bad for her. And so when she called me last Monday, it was an odd time of day for her to call. And so I knew when she got on the phone that something was wrong. And unfortunately, her brother, my cousin, died over the weekend. And so absolutely shocking, not expected at all. You know, just one more heartbreak to bring to her and to our family. And I've tried to put it out of my mind, because they're not here in town, so it's not like a daily reminder for me, but it, you know, it sneaks right back in there. And I just felt like the timing is so painful for her, and I feel so bad for her and our family and everything. But I felt like it was important to document. And the picture that I've got is a family picture of all of them, and it is from when we went for their dad's funeral barely a year ago. And so I had this quote, and this is the quote I had originally printed for one of the other days, and it just never fit to me. And I don't know if it was just meant to be, but a note to anyone who needs to hear it: we don't get over or move on from our trauma. We are forced to make space for it. We carry it, we learn to live with it, and sometimes we thrive in spite of it. And this is, it's unknown, and I'll trim a lot of that off of there, but I felt like that was an appropriate quote. I already did one on grief, and so I felt almost more for my cousin who is still with us. This is more for her than for her brother. And so, you know, the grief now belongs to us, and dealing with the trauma belongs to us and not to them, you know, because they're gone and they are, you know, whatever your beliefs are, they are where they are. So we're the ones left to figure out how to move forward. So, so that is the quote. And here is the picture of my cousins and, well, they're all my cousins. My cousin and her brother and her husband and her son. So, I love this picture. I'm so grateful that I took it. So, anyway, I am going to document that. I'm going to use The Storyteller by Coco Vanilla, because there's a lot of really positive but also encouraging things in here. And of course, I love Coco Vanilla and I love this collection. I've only used it one other time. That was for a layout of my grandmother. So I feel like this is pretty darn appropriate. So I have, sorry. This is all a little bit more fresh than, I mean, I had planned and processed some of the grief that I was dealing with for the first 5 videos. But I haven't really processed, like I said, they don't live in town, and so it's easier, you know, when you don't see someone or talk to somebody on a daily basis. It's easier to try and push that out of your mind. And I've been uber busy with my new job and everything and getting situated, and I always, of course, come here for my mental health, which is so good for me. So anyway, so I had months, you know, the time leading up to the beginning of the July videos, I had that time to work on processing and dealing with all my grief from the things that I've already scrapbooked with you all. And I haven't really had time to grieve with this weekend, is the service and everything, and I can't go because it's in far away. And so I grieve for our loss, but I also grieve for my cousin because I know that she is broken, and that's just really hard. So anyway, sorry. So I have the ephemera kit, lots of flowers, and word phrases and things in here that I know that will come in handy. I'm pretty sure that this is the card, this little pocket card that I want to use. And I'm not going to journal now. I'll have to wait. But I thought this matters so much to me, would be a really good card to put with this picture, because I'm so grateful that I took it. Because I don't have a whole lot of pictures of him as an older person because he lives far away. And so anyway, so I have that and all the ephemera. I have this foam title stickers. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to use together. I thought that might be most likely the title I went with if I use this. I have the accessory stickers. I love all the little word phrases down here. I don't know about this stuff, but we'll see as we go. This was a cut apart that I have bits and pieces from my last one. So I didn't know if I would use some of these little banner things that I could fussy cut, or any of these. And then of course there's pattern paper on the back. So I have all of those. So I thought I would pull that out. And then of course I have all of my papers, and I haven't looked through them to decide what I'm going to use, but this is definitely the collection I wanted to go with. I love this collection, and I think it's going to work really well to document. So I hope that you all are gaining something from these videos. And even if you're not, I am. And that's, you know, that's a big part of why I do what I do, is so that I can process and craft, which, like I've said many, many, many times, this is my mental health. This is how I get through things. I mean, I have a strong faith in God. I have a fantastic family, a very strong group of friends that I know that I can turn to. But when I need the solace and the peace, you know, between my faith and my scrapbooking, that's where I get it. And so that this is what helps me get through. With a box of tissues next to my desk, obviously it's kind of come in handy. So I am just grateful for you all to be here, and for your love and support that I have felt from the beginning. I have decided, and I mentioned this before, I think last Saturday, I have decided that I think that I want to do this as like a monthly thing where I will create a layout once a month for the Courageously Crafting, Scrapbooking Through the Hard Stuff, so I can continue to encourage people to scrapbook the different things. I mean, I have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of pictures of my dad and pictures of my aunt, and very much so pictures of my grandmother, and other people that I've lost in my life, or other things that have happened that have been hard or sad. So I definitely have other things that I can do. I just wanted to do that start off 5 weeks because I was just so drawn to the fact that all of that stuff happened in such a short amount of time. And so then when this happened, I just really felt like this was what I needed to do, was to continue to craft for myself the hard stuff, and then, you know, hopefully inspire, encourage, and share so with you all. Okay, so I'm gonna get it together for now, and get crafting with this gorgeous Cocoa Vanilla storyteller and these really special pictures. So thank you all again, and let's see how this goes. Okay, so I waited till the next day to do the voiceover so that I could get it a little bit together. Because if you can't hear what I'm saying, then you're not, it doesn't do you a lot of good. Okay, so the first thing I did was pick my papers, and I love this blue grid, like wonky grid, but I adore that heart paper that's back there. And then I pulled a couple scraps that were in my collection that were left over from my last and only leather layout that I've done with this the storyteller collection. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to mat this quote. I've trimmed it down pretty much to just the words. There was like a person in the background, and it wasn't necessary to keep that in there, so I just trimmed it down to this size. So do you know how painful it is to tear this Cocoa Vanilla paper? I do love to do some paper tearing, but it is hard to tear into a collection that is so stunning, but I love the look of torn paper. I love it. So I am going to tear a little thin border down so that I can still keep the width, but have that torn look on both sides. And I just love the way this turns out. I haven't done any of these layouts for this series with any major wild and crazy mixed media, because mixed media takes time, and I know that really the main point of these videos is to encourage people to scrapbook the hard stuff and share collections that are really good for doing that. So I ended up taking these 2 papers that I had scraps left of, and I put the floral on top of the blue and the blue on top of the heart paper so it would both stand out. And then I just put the picture down right in the middle of that quote. And then I matted the picture of my cousins in a white, I just done it with a white mat. And I did ink that with chip sapphire, just very lightly around the edge, because there's going to be a part where it's overlaying that floral paper, and I didn't want it to disappear. I wanted it to stand out there. So then I just go through the ephemera kit to see what I can find that I really want to use. I also trimmed a couple of word phrases off of that scrap with the cut aparts, and they just say right now is all that matters, and the other one says memories are made out of this, and I trim them out to where they're separated. So I already knew that I wanted to use this journaling thing that says this matters so much to me, and I will journal in there before I put it away in my book, but not now. I need to really try and figure out what I want to write. And so I'm just fiddling around with trying to place some things. I've got that little label right above the picture. I'm going to put the date there later on. And I pulled out some of the hearts. I knew I wouldn't use all of these little cardstock hearts, but I wanted to pull them all out to see what I wanted to work with. And then I also have this little banner that says special to me, and another little banner I cut off that cut apart sheet that says love. And then another one that I've got up there at the top is that little arrow / banner kind of thing that's got the green heart on it. And I think that just adds a little bit of a different color. It breaks that blue up just a smidge. And then I have another thing from the ephemera that says precious moments. So between the precious moments and then the 2 at the bottom and that special to me, I really didn't need anything off of this accessory sheet. So I didn't need any more word phrases. I didn't think they'd stand out very well on that heart background. So I just went with what I already had. And so now everything is, I think, glued down except for maybe that little heart banner at the very top. I think I've put everything down already. So I'm trying to figure out the title, and had I thought about it, I would have put that label elsewhere and put the together up here at the top, because that G the descender will come down right next to the picture and the rest would go above, but it won't work, and I don't want to waste that label. It kind of seems silly and it looks weird to have part of it with a label behind it. So then I kind of moved it around a few times. The first time I laid it down, it was covering some of the matters so much to me. So I had to pull it off of there and move it down a smidge. So the T and the H still come up over that card, but they don't block the words. And I'm okay with that. And I'm happy with it being on the picture. That is perfectly fine as well. It's just empty space mostly and just slightly over my cousin's leg. So that is perfectly fine. And then I'm going to use a couple of the hearts that are on this foam thicker set, and I'm going to put them down. Obviously, I've attached that heart now, the green one at the top. So I put one of those foam hearts up at the top and then 2 down at the bottom on either side of those little quotes. And then I pull out my enamel shapes and I put 3 dots down below the together and 3 dots above that special to me. And then I pull a few little hearts off and I'm going to lay those down. So all the hearts are sharing. There's a big heart and a little heart on all 3 of those up at the top. And here are the close-ups. I really love the way this turned out. It was definitely hard because it's so fresh. Typically it's been, months, years, or whatever, while I've scrapbooked a lot of the things that I have scrapbooked lately of the hard stuff. It's been 2 years since I lost my grandmother, and it still makes me cry to scrapbook her, but I do. But this is just a week, not even 2 weeks ago that my cousin died, and we are all still heartbroken, and today is the day that they are having his celebration. So prayers if you all pray. Please get out there and scrapbook the hard stuff, make the memories, love the ones you love, and happy scrapping.